Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we slice through the noise and get straight to the insights. Today, we're plunging into a topic that feels like it's reinventing itself practically daily. AI innovation.
It really
You
does.
see these new models, incredible capabilities, groundbreaking products. It's fascinating to watch. But for businesses,
Yeah.
it also poses some, well, truly mind-bending questions.
It absolutely does. Because while the innovation is electric, the enormous question that often gets kind of lost in the excitement is, how do companies actually capture that value? How do they monetize effectively?
Right.
For a truly sustainable AI ecosystem, you can't just be pricing on vibes, as some people say. It's a common and often pretty costly pitfall.
Yeah, I bet. And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding the bleeding-edge experimentation and the fresh ideas shaping AI pricing right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to examine the frameworks, the tools you need to navigate this incredibly complex landscape.
And the insights today, they come directly from the front lines. We've been partnering with companies across the entire AI stack, helping them ship products like Vercel's V0 agent or Perplexity's API.
Oh,
So we're
wow.
bringing you stories and lessons learned directly from the field, basically.
Okay, great. So let's kick things off with the big one. Why is AI pricing so uniquely challenging right now,
Mm,
especially compared to, say, traditional software? Beyond just the speed, what's the real strategic headache here?
that's a perfect way to frame it. There are, I'd say, three core factors that make AI monetization just harder than ever before.
Okay.
First, you nailed it. It's the blazing speed of change. Model costs, inference costs, the capabilities themselves. They're evolving dramatically fast.
Right.
And it's not just keeping pace, it's that each new model drop can fundamentally, rewire your unit economics. Or it might unlock entirely new use cases you hadn't even thought of.
Ah,
So you're constantly having to reevaluate your core value proposition. It's not just iterating. Sometimes you might have to completely reinvent.
that kind of volatility must be a nightmare for, like, CFOs.
Hmm.
How do you even begin to budget for that?
Exactly. And that leads right into the second factor, the margin and KGS pressure, cost of goods sold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those steep Anthropic or OpenAI bills, these significant costs of just running these large models, they create immense pressure on your margins.
Mm.
The old way, ship a product and then figure out pricing later, that's just not viable anymore when your basic costs are so high and, frankly, unpredictable.
Like building a house without knowing the price of bricks.
That's a great analogy. Yeah, you'd never get the foundation right. And third, and this is crucial, customers are laser focused on ROI.
Return on investment.
Exactly. They need to understand the direct return they're getting from these new technologies. They're not just buying a cool tool. They want to see tangible value, hard dollars saved or earned.
Okay.
So this unique combination, it makes AI pricing a real tightrope walk for everyone involved.
Why?
I mean, we've even seen reports that a product like ChatGPT Pro, huge user base,
Yeah, mass.
it reportedly turned out to be a loss driver for the company at $20 a month. That really highlights how even the big players, the industry leaders, struggle with this stuff.
That ChatGPT Pro detail is, yeah, it's sobering. It makes you wonder, though, how much of that is maybe a deliberate strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Grab market share versus just, oops, we miscalculated.
It's often a bit of both, I think. It's strategic calculation, maybe, prioritizing adoption, getting the data over immediate profit.
Right.
But it definitely underscores the complexity. Even wildly successful products can have these hidden cost structures that, well, they can surprise you.
So, okay, if we shouldn't be pricing on vibes,
Mm-hmm.
what's the very first strategic fork in the road? Where do companies even begin?
Right. For a company staring down this challenge, what's that big first decision about how to monetize?
Exactly.
Well, a fantastic starting point is this framework from Simon Kucher. It helps you decide, should you go for direct or indirect monetization?
Direct versus indirect.
Okay. Direct monetization is pretty straightforward. You're selling the AI feature or the product itself as a standalone thing or maybe as a clear add-on.
Got it.
Indirect monetization, though, that's where you're using AI to, say, drive upsells into your existing products or tiers.
Right.
Or maybe you even bundle it for free just to encourage certain customer behavior, fuel revenue growth somewhere else in the business.
Ah, okay. So it's about whether the AI is the thing you're selling or if it's more like a powerful lever to help you sell something else.
Precisely.
Can you give us some real-world examples, make that distinction really clear?
Absolutely. Think about GitHub Copilot.
Mm-hmm.
They launched it as a separable, monetizable add-on. It sits right on top of the basic GitHub seat fee.
Okay.
And the key question they likely asked was, does this new thing add value for everyone?
Yeah.
or just a niche group within our audience.
And Copilot is more niche for developers.
Exactly, at least for now.
Yeah.
So that direct add-on strategy works really well. Then you have Notion AI.
Right. I use Notion.
They were super quick to market in their space. And initially, they also launched Notion AI as an add-on, just like Copilot.
Okay.
But recently, they've actually bundled it into their business and enterprise tiers. And they raised the prices for those tiers accordingly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they shifted from direct add-on to a more indirect kind of adoption-driving strategy within their higher value plans. It's a really fascinating pivot to watch.
It really is. But you mentioned indirect could mean giving it away free, like Expedia did with their AI Reels thing.
Yeah, that's another flavor of indirect.
Yeah.
Expedia, huge company, right? They launched this AI feature that turns Instagram Reels into bookable trips for free.
Wow.
They're effectively swallowing those costs, as you said. Why?
Yeah.
Because they anticipate it'll lead to more travel bookings down the line. That's their indirect revenue growth.
But for a smaller company, swallowing costs might be, well, a non-starter. Are there other indirect ways for businesses with tighter budgets?
That's a great question. Yeah, absolutely. While Expedia can afford to play that big game, smaller companies can use similar logic, just maybe on a smaller scale.
Like how?
Maybe it's a free AI-powered recommendation engine on an e-commerce site that subtly nudges users towards higher margin products.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a smart chatbot that reduces your customer support costs, right? That boosts your net margin on your existing sales. The principle's the same. The AI enables core revenue. It's not the direct source itself.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, so we've talked about if we should monetize direct or indirect. Let's move to how. Specifically picking the right value metric. Because AI agents, things like that, they're really redefining what value even means. How do we price that?
This is one of the most critical and frankly trickiest parts. We're seeing a whole spectrum of value metrics emerging.
The spectrum.
Yeah, from very granular, like resource-based models, all the way to what many people call the holy grail, true outcome-based pricing.
Okay, break that down. Resource-based.
So on one end, you have resource-based or token-based models, very granular. These often align well with, say, developer audiences who want that precision, that control.
Right. Makes sense for devs.
Then, kind of in the middle, you have proxies for value, things like steps in a workflow or maybe entire workflows or even labor replacement, where you might charge per hour, almost like hiring a consultant.
Interesting.
And then at the far end is that true outcome-based pricing, where you are literally directly charging for the ROI delivered.
Okay, can you give us specific examples, put some names to those points on the spectrum?
Sure. So for Cells Vero, which we mentioned earlier, that uses a token-based model. It's based on very granular capabilities, fits their developer audience perfectly.
Got it. Tokens.
Moving along, think about Zapier. They deliver automation, right?
Yeah.
They use a task-based pricing strategy. Users subscribe for a certain number of tasks per month. That completed task in their automation workflow. That's the unit of value.
Okay, task-based. Makes sense for automation. And what about that holy grail, outcome-based? You hear it talked about so much. Why isn't everyone just doing that?
Yeah, outcome-based pricing gets a lot of buzz. You see it on LinkedIn all the time. But the unvarnished truth, it's incredibly difficult to implement well outside of very specific areas.
Really? Why?
Well, a prime example where it is working well is Intercom's Fin, their AI support bot.
Okay.
They charge, I think it's $1.99 per successful customer support ticket resolution. And I mean literally successful. If the end user says, yep, my query was answered and no human had to step in, that's when the charge happens.
Wow, that's direct ROI.
It absolutely is. But here's the kind of hidden secret. Outside of that customer experience, customer support space, it's really hard to find many examples where it's working well yet.
Huh. That's fascinating. What makes it so hard to do elsewhere?
It really boils down to two things: objective measurement and alignment. Ultimately, the customer and the vendor, you both need to agree on what the definition of the successful outcome actually is. And then you need to be able to measure it reliably, objectively.
Right.
In customer support, that's pretty clear. Was the question resolved? Yes or no? Did it need escalation? Yes or no? But when you're trying to price something more creative, maybe, or something less directly tied to, measurable dollars and cents, it just gets significantly harder.
Yeah, I can see that.
So while it's literally pricing on ROI, and that sounds amazing, the industry is still trying to, crack this code for broader applications. It's tough.
This brings up such a critical point, though. In this landscape that's changing so fast, Cost shifting, capabilities evolving almost overnight. How often do companies actually need to revisit their pricing? Is it still a set it and forget it kind of deal?
Oh, far from it. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Unlike traditional SaaS, where maybe you'd set your pricing for a year, maybe two, maybe even longer, AI demands continual evolution, constant experimentation. That
No.
old 1, 2, 3 year cycle for pricing iteration, it just doesn't cut it anymore.
Why the big shift?
Yeah.
What's driving that need for constant change?
Well, like we said, new model drops. Something like Claude 3 comes out, suddenly your costs might drop by 10x. Or maybe a more powerful model comes out that costs 10x more but delivers way more value.
Wow, overnight changes like that.
Literally overnight. It forces companies to react and react fast. This ongoing volatility means the really smart teams, the best teams, they aren't just adjusting price points now and then. They're simulating different scenarios constantly.
And when you say pricing strategy, it's more than just a sticker price, right?
Yeah.
What else is part of that constant iteration?
Exactly. It's the whole package, the entire experience around pricing. That includes how you package features into different tiers, right? How you think about rate limits or usage volumes, even custom terms for enterprise deals. It's how you design all of that stuff, but also, crucially, how you communicate it to your customers. That entire ecosystem needs constant iteration to keep price aligned with value.
Okay, this sounds incredibly complex to manage on the fly. So for teams trying to navigate this, what are they actually using? Are there specific tools, specific methodologies emerging that are proving essential for this rapid iteration?
That's precisely where these data-driven simulation tools are becoming absolutely critical.
Simulation tools.
Yeah, think of it like a flight simulator, but for your pricing strategy.
Oh, interesting analogy.
The best teams are leveraging these new platforms that let them essentially backtest different pricing strategies. They use their real historical usage data, but they test new pricing models against it before they ever go live.
So you can see the impact beforehand.
Exactly. It helps break through a lot of that fear, that uncertainty, that doubt, the FUD about how a new pricing model will actually perform in the real world.
That makes so much sense. So what do these simulation tools actually do for a business? How does it work?
Well, they let you answer those crucial what-if questions, but with real data backing it up, so you feel confident.
Okay.
You can define a simulation period. Maybe it's the duration of your closed beta tests. You pick your customer cohorts. Maybe it's those non-paying beta users, or maybe it's existing customers who are about to get access to a new AI feature.
Right.
Then you build out scenarios, alternate ways to price. For example, you could model, what if we added a simple fixed fee for access to our AI agent? Or maybe explore something more granular, like token-based pricing.
Okay.
And even within tokens, you could try simple unit prices or maybe tiered fees where, the first 1,000,000 tokens are free, and then you charge after that. You model these out.
And what kind of insights do you get back? What helps you make the call?
So once you run the simulation, it generates a report that gives you a ton of useful stuff. It shows you the potential impact on your top-line revenue based on how people actually use the product.
That's key.
Absolutely. And crucially, it also highlights the models with the lowest average change to existing customers, which is incredibly important, right? You want to avoid those painful price hikes that cause churn.
Yeah, definitely.
You also get a detailed view of your expected revenue mix, like how much comes from fixed fees versus usage. And often there's a scatter plot showing the impact percentage change and revenue change for each individual customer.
Wow, down to the individual customer level.
Yeah, you can even export that data. The whole goal is to essentially travel time, right? Explore the space of what's possible with pricing using your real data.
Okay.
So when you finally get to that launch moment, you're doing it very confidently. You have certainty, or at least high confidence, about what that impact is going to be.
That sounds powerful.
It is. We actually built a tool at Orb called Orb Simulations that does exactly this. It came about because we noticed customers kind of hacking together similar testing setups on our main billing product.
You saw the need directly.
Exactly. So our core message now, especially for AI builders, is always simulate first. Before you put something new out to market, test it.
We've covered a huge amount today.
Yeah.
From those foundational decisions like direct versus indirect monetization to picking the right value metric, that whole spectrum, and then this really critical need for continuous iteration supported by these simulation tools.
Indeed. I think if you boil it down, the three key ideas are, first, deciding should we monetize directly or indirectly. Second, the importance of selecting the right value metric, one that truly aligns with how customers perceive the value they're getting.
Right.
And third, just the critical need for continuous experimentation and simulation in such a dynamic field. You just have to keep testing.
And you might be listening to this and thinking, wow, this all sounds incredibly hard, or maybe even this feels impossible for my business. And let's be honest, it is hard. It's tricky.
It is, no doubt.
But what we've seen working with customers is that when you do get it right, it can lead to truly headline-inspiring results. We're talking significant revenue impact, and it gets these amazing AI products to the right audiences effectively.
That's the payoff. When you manage to converge on the right strategy using data, using simulation, the impact can be huge and incredibly valuable for the business.
So maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. If the core value of AI itself is in its ability to adapt, to learn, shouldn't our pricing strategies for these AI products be just as adaptive? Shouldn't they learn from real-world usage too? What would it really look like for your business to truly simulate first before your next big AI launch?